Tyler will be CEO. The words ricocheted across the newly polished stone lobby, and the crystal trophy in Evelyn's hand hesitated, then slid a quarter inch along her palm. Guests looked up. A bell cart squeaked. Overhead, a chandelier scattered winter light like glittering frost. If you're here for family drama stories that sharpen into family revenge stories, tap like, subscribe, and ring the bell on Crimson Heirs, then lean closer. Evelyn Brooks stood very still, shoulders squared as if bracing for mountain wind. 49, Boston tempered. She had returned to Jackson Hole to stitch a fading lodge back to life. Across from her, Margaret Brooks offered a breezy wave, the kind used to brush lint from a sleeve. Detail work is your gift, Evie. Leadership is big picture. Robert adjusted his watch band, checking nothing in particular. Tyler strolled in late, hands in pockets, a smile that tried to own the room. The new logo reflected in his sunglasses as he passed the front desk. "Sis'll keep the day-to-day tight," he said to the room, not to her. "I'll drive the vision." The lobby, Cedar Sky Lodge reborn, answered with quiet competence. Check-in screens hummed. The custom map wall glowed. A line moved, then vanished. Housekeeping supervisors hovered by the elevators with crisp clipboards. A barista tamped espresso with practiced weight. The scent of lodgepole pine threaded through the air like a promise. Evidence lived everywhere. Review cards filled a corkboard in overlapping rows. The booking dashboard pulsed green. A family snapped selfies beneath the antler arch and posted them before their luggage tags cooled. The night audit had balanced early. The phones held, for once, a steady silence. Evelyn didn't argue. She lifted the trophy, the quarterly record they'd planned to present tonight, and set it gently on the check-in marble. Her fingernail tapped the base once, twice. The sound was small, precise. "Staff meeting at 7, Margaret announced, voice soft but final. "We'll share the good news then." Around them, employees traded glances that landed near the carpet, not the eyes. Tyler's shoes clicked a rhythm. "We'll trim the extras," he added, already turning. "Too much spend on breakfast, too much polish. People want authenticity." The barista's tamper paused mid-air. A housekeeper's pen stopped at the edge of a checkbox. Robert cleared his throat. Margaret smiled for the guests. The front desk associate slid room keys forward with a practiced half-bow, as if ceremonies could hold. Evelyn exhaled through her nose, slow enough to fog nothing. She checked the clock behind the concierge desk. 7 would come, and with it, an announcement wrapped like a ribbon around someone else's name. The mountains did not flinch. Tonight they hand him the chair. She hands herself freedom. 8 weeks earlier, the call came just after dawn. Robert's name lit Evelyn's phone. He didn't ask how Boston was, only how fast she could get to Jackson Hole. On her kitchen island, a renovation calendar and a grocery list. She slid the list into the trash, zipped one suitcase, and booked a one-way ticket before the kettle finished whispering. Cedar Sky Lodge looked tired when she stepped from the rideshare. Carpet bubbled at seams, a printer coughing paper, a front door hinge moaning each swing. She walked the property with a legal pad and a flashlight. Tasks: replace PMS and booking engine, write SOPs for check-in and late checkout, restart maintenance logs and laundry rotation, redo menu costing, audit vendor contracts older than the bar stools. The first 30 days turned into triage. A plumber's van idled behind dumpsters at sunrise. An electrician swapped panels while guests asked about lift tickets. A cleaner found a lost earring inside a long-dead vacuum. Evelyn replaced the property management system, rebuilt rate plans, restored parity, and added a simple ski and breakfast over winter dates. At midnight, she printed training checklists. At 4, she taped them to the break room fridge with painter's tape and a post-it reminder, signs stacked up. Concentric coffee stains on her mug deepened weekly. Rubber bands lived on her wrist for emergency fixes. Her ponytail loosened by lunch. When a guest asked about snowshoe trails, the front desk answered in under 10 seconds and handed a laminated map that hadn't existed 3 days earlier. She replaced the lobby carpet, hired a local metalworker to build a minimal antler arch, and commissioned photographs from a Teton guide. A coffee bar rose where a dusty brochure rack once tilted. The espresso machine hissed. Housekeeping checklists turned into muscle memory. The breakfast buffet, local yogurt, huckleberry jam, eggs done right, opened 5 minutes early and closed exactly on time. Then, numbers moved. Occupancy climbed week by week. ADR quit apologizing. Reviews flipped. Unexpectedly modern. Staff who actually know the mountain. Worth the price. The corkboard near the elevators grew a second layer of comment cards. The booking dashboard pulsed green so often the night auditor stopped tapping his pen. Marketing followed function. She opened OTA channels and trimmed the ones that bled. Social stories showed boot prints in new powder. A ski guide reposted a reel. The town paper asked about the remodel. A blogger wrote a mini-feature after tasting cinnamon rolls and missing her shuttle on purpose. Tyler visited and pronounced it all too slick. He arrived 30 minutes late to the operations meeting wearing sunglasses that reflected the logo, dropped authentic mountain soul on the table, and left before assignments began. Margaret touched Evelyn's wrist and said she had a gift for details. Robert tightened his watch band and said rate growth looked promising. When staff needed a decision, eyes went to Evelyn. When Tyler spoke, eyes slid to carpet. She prepared slides for her parents. Occupancy, RevPAR, NPS, food costs down 7% after supplier talks. A red dot from her pointer sat steady on the upward slope. Margaret pursed a smile and said leadership meant vision. Tyler squinted at the graph and said numbers only tell part of it. People want rustic. On Crimson Heirs, this is where family drama stories brush against family revenge stories, and sparks keep landing right now. The staff meeting was set for 7. A record quarter would be named. A CEO would be named. Evelyn folded the staffing matrix into 3 panels, clicked her pen twice, and checked the lobby clock. If data couldn't move blood, what would? By late afternoon, the lobby breathed in peaks. Wet boot prints fading, espresso hissing, desk phones blinking. The staff meeting at 7 hung like weather on the horizon. Evelyn kept her pace even, clipboard under arm, record quarter slides on a thumb drive in her pocket. Tyler arrived with a clatter of confidence and a sentence sharpened like a box cutter. "We're trimming extras," he declared to the breakfast and front office leads. "No hotline tomorrow. Ditch the local fruit. Keep it simple. People want authenticity." A bar spoon pinged against ceramic, then went very still. The breakfast captain glanced at the satisfaction screen. Breakfast, top driver for direct bookings. Evelyn turned the monitor so Tyler could see. "Look," she said, voice flat as the countertop. "When this line hums, we sell longer stays and late checkouts. Correlation's clean." "Numbers aren't everything," Tyler replied, smile pasted bright. "Rustic sells itself." He pivoted to housekeeping. "New lean schedule," he said, sliding a grid like a magician's reveal. "Pull people off 10 to noon. We'll push turnovers later. Guests don't notice." They noticed within the hour, carts queued at the elevator, wheels squeaking in place. Rooms missed the promised ready time. Check-in slowed, then stalled. A guest traced circles on the marble with a glove, watching the clock. The front desk associate kept a smile, almost steady. "All hands," Evelyn said. Not loud, but it carried. She split shifts on the fly, pulled 2 runners from admin, rode the elevator to 3, and started mapping the bottleneck. The issue wasn't effort, it was physics. Too few hands during the checkout choke, no runner to clear linen, 1 elevator pulled for service. Tyler cornered Marina, the head of housekeeping. "You're not flexible," he told her, pen poised over a termination form like a judge with a gavel. Marina's clipboard bent slightly in her grip. Evelyn stepped between pen and paper with printouts ready. "Turn time 41 minutes yesterday. Errors under 2%, she said. "We're slow because you pulled 10 to noon and the elevator's down." She tapped a histogram and the service ticket. "Add a runner, restore that window. We hit targets." "Numbers," he repeated, rolling the word as if it tasted wrong. "Then explain why breakfast satisfaction tracks direct bookings," she said, tipping the tablet toward him. The ops manager added carefully, "Cut the hotline, and we lose the reason to linger." Morale thinned like steam in cold air. A pen cap clicked twice, then not at all. Someone's radio squawked, then hushed. The clock hands near the concierge desk inched together, frowning towards 7. Evelyn set Marina back on the board, reassigned floats, and walked the line until keys resumed their steady slide across the counter. On Crimson Heirs, family drama stories meet family revenge stories at moments like this. Dusk spilled through the high windows as she stepped outside for air. The parking lot glittered with melt. Beyond the spruces, a red streak caught her eye. For sale, Willow Creek Lodge. Evelyn stopped mid-stride. Her car key ticked once against her ring. The mountains regarded everything without comment. If data couldn't move blood, a red sign might. The red for sale sign haunted her all the way home. In the carport, Evelyn snapped a photo, typed a 3-word note, "Call this tonight," and dialed the number before the engine cooled. By morning, she had a walkthrough, 2 checklists, and a lender willing to talk on board. Willow Creek Lodge creaked like an old lift, but its frame held steady. She walked the boiler room first, palm near copper lines to feel heat, checked expansion tanks, relief valves, and the scuffed service panel. On the roof, she measured patchwork with a contractor's wheel. In the elevator closet, she read inspection tags twice. Hallway carpet smelled of dust and oranges. She wrote, "Plumbing, okay, roof needs work, elevator serviceable, rooms dated, views unbeatable." Financing came together like mountain weather, fast, conditional. Savings for the earnest money, a line of credit for capex, bridge to refi once cash flow proved itself. The purchase agreement arrived with a 60-day escrow and a clean exit clause tied to a structural report. Her attorney flagged easements and lien releases. The title company nodded her through, each stamp a green light. At the kitchen table, she opened a fresh notebook, the Apex. Mood board to the wall, smoked cedar, basalt tile, matte brass, throws, alpine photography. Signature breakfast back to full strength, local yogurt and hotline intact. A pocket spa with 3 treatment rooms. PMS and booking engine that work on a phone. Rate fences that reward longer stays and early lift tickets. She wrote the tagline twice, peak care, every stay, and circled care. Team came next. An operations manager who spoke SOPs like a first language. Marina, if she wanted, with schedule control and training budget. An FB lead with a calm knife and a clean PL. A maintenance tech who knew what wind did to doors. A local attorney who knew which permits slept and which woke at renovation. She kept it quiet. NDAs with contractors, night meetings in an empty conference room. Permit packets filed in staggered stacks. Life safety first, then plumbing, then finishes. Vendor maps shifted toward Denver in case pressure rose at home. On Crimson Heirs, where family drama stories lean toward family revenge stories, the pen that signs escrow sometimes writes a new surname for a town. A timeline ribboned across a corkboard. Demo, MEP, finishes, soft opening. Each week earned a photo tacked under a heading, dust in the air catching sun like confetti. Numbers got their own tab, green crept from cell to cell. The renovation clock began to count down, to the day the ribbon would snap, sawdust hung in morning light. The renovation clock that began in Part 4 kept ticking while Evelyn traced the schedule. Demo, MEP, finishes, soft opening. A drill started, stopped. On a folding table, drawings wore coffee rings. The boiler kept its low hum. She chased flow. Crews pulled carpet and found planks worth saving. Electricians rerouted lines. Plumbers replaced choked valves. The elevator company re-leveled thresholds until the doors met. Basalt tile replaced beige. Warm bulbs softened edges. The laser-cut Apex logo arrived wrapped in brown paper. Operations became the spine. SOP checklists bred across corkboards. Time to clean, runner positions, elevator choreography, night audit handoff. The PMS went live mobile first. The booking engine resized cleanly. Rate fences rewarded longer stays and bundled lift tickets with late checkouts. A laminated card above the printer read, "Peak care, every stay." The team condensed. An operations manager who spoke SOPs debated sequence with housekeeping and timed a run. Marina said yes, with schedule control. She drew shift blocks like coastlines. The FB lead tested egg yield and a backup line for hash. Maintenance walked the roof before dawn to feel the wind on doors. Brand lived in sensation. Huckleberry jam stained tasting spoons a deep violet. The signature breakfast brought the hot line back. Skillet potatoes hissed, waffles steamed, coffee drew people to the lobby. The pocket spa favored short, restorative treatments. Labels named wood and herb notes without cutesy adjectives. Eco and local were policies, not slogans. House water stayed cold and clean. Refill amenities replaced travel trash. Local artists signed small placards. Menus shifted with snow and trucks. Marketing stayed stealth. Teasers showed details. A reading lamp over a stitched headboard, a framed trail map, a door handle that wouldn't freeze a palm. The soft list, guides, shop owners, a travel editor who never RSVP'd, received a quiet invite. NDAs kept contractors from playing town crier. Soft opening proved the math in the wild. 12 rooms, 2 nights. The desk rehearsed a no-wait check-in. A runner carried linen by stairs while the elevator team fine-tuned leveling. When a sensor hiccuped, maintenance fixed it without fuss. Time to service recorded. NPS gathered face-to-face. Water pressure adjusted before anyone phoned. User-generated magic required no memo. A snowboard tech filmed a pour-over, a guide posted a balcony shot. A mother showed berries and waffles with a caption that sounded like a sigh. Bookings bumped inside the hour. Grand opening arrived like weather. A ribbon stretched across the entrance, catching sun. Cameras blinked. Inside, air carried pine and steam and the calm of work prepared. The barista traced a spruce in foam. The desk handed a snowshoe itinerary on a card no bigger than a glove tag. Keys slid. The bell twirled once and stopped dead center. Margaret and Robert stood near the back in their good coats. Robert adjusted his watch band twice, then stopped. Margaret's scarf made a neat line. They did not come forward. They did not leave. Tyler arrived after the flashbulbs. He inventoried the room. At the bar, ice clicked against glass. "You're tearing us apart," he said low. "Direct hit." "I'm operating the standard your hotel declined," Evelyn answered. "Guests can feel it. So can the numbers." Numbers spoke without a microphone. Opening weekend ran at 95% occupancy. ADR rose above last winter's best week. The Ski Plus breakfast bundle converted as if waiting to exist. Breakfast scores spiked. Late checkouts grew. Housekeeping hit turn targets because runners stood where a hallway bent, not where a spreadsheet suggested. The day tested them. An elevator sensor threw a phantom fault. A runner took the stairs and maintenance cleared the issue in 18 minutes. The hotline ran short on eggs. The FB lead opened the backup station. No plate waited more than 4 minutes. A mitten left by the fireplace got logged and returned before midnight. Coverage landed fast. The town paper ran Apex sets a new peak with steam rising from waffles. A blogger called the lobby a room that breathes. A remarketing email, 3 sentences, 1 photo, drew clicks that made the ops manager whistle. Across town, Cedar Sky faltered. Reviews mentioned maintenance and slow turnovers, the sense of a hand off the wheel. A temporary rating drop arrived without ceremony. Staff who had once watched their shoes now watched the door. On Crimson Heirs, where family drama stories arc toward family revenge stories, a lobby lighting up can feel like a verdict. Vendors began to hesitate, calls that used to end with absolutely now pausing on well. A chairlift rumor said the tourism board wanted balance. Evelyn printed the rumor and pinned it next to the SOPs, as if labeling a wire before it could fray. When the opening night lights dimmed, the town's shadow stretched long on the snow. Morning after the grand opening, the lobby settled into a quiet, competent rhythm. Steam curled from mugs, keys slid. The renovation clock kept ticking. Evelyn pinned a single page to the ops board, week 1 targets, and exhaled once. Then a vendor blinked. An email arrived with no greeting. "We're reallocating inventory to long-standing partners." The noon delivery vanished. She printed the note, squared it to the cork, and drew a red box around the subject line. "Call Denver," she wrote. By 2, a different truck backed to the dock. New contract. Firm, SLA. Late fees that mattered. Word drifted through town like loose snow. A cafe pour paused. Someone murmured, "Apex tearing the Brooks apart." A clerk folded a newspaper over a column about urban polish on mountain bones. Guests noticed none of it. Staff did. Eyes touched the Apex logo, then fell. Evelyn refused the brawl. She opened the kitchen door to visitors instead, the roaster, the jam maker, a rancher with winter greens. Phones recorded. A micro-tour formed itself. 2 guides, a shop owner, a reporter who preferred boots to heels. The story wrote itself in steam and steel and hands. Recruiters tested the line. A supervisor's phone lit. Come back to Cedar Sky with a stipend. He turned the screen face down and kept pouring. That night, Evelyn held a 10-minute town hall. No speeches, just charts and a calendar, raises tied to clear work. Housekeeping kept schedule control. Marina ran the board like a flight deck. A small box of enamel pins appeared, peak care in silver. One went to the runner who caught an elevator fault before it grew. And paperwork arrived uninvited. A surprise safety inspection found 2 signs missing and an elevator log too neat to trust. Fine. She added arrows that glowed, uploaded maintenance photos to cloud folders, dated and labeled. The inspector's pen slowed. 48 hours, he said. She finished in 26. Across town, pricing slipped. Cedar Sky dropped to a rate that barely paid for coffee. A coupon for 2 drinks waved under a headline about authenticity. Evelyn declined the race to the bottom. She fenced rates instead. Ski pass with late checkout. 2-night mini spa. A 48-hour hold for direct bookers. A promise appeared online. Best rate or call and we fix. The chat bubble stayed small and fast. Conversion crept up like a line on a ridge. Direct channels found legs. Heat maps showed fingers on phones at lunch and near midnight. The reason to book survey pointed the same 3 ways: breakfast, spa, lifts. She circled breakfast and spa, underlined lifts. The dashboard's green bar for direct rose by pixels, then inches. Allies showed up where grit meets courtesy. Guides blocked dates for Apex guests. The board shop added a wax and tune voucher to itineraries. A shuttle driver lifted a laminated card, smiled, and stamped it blue. Itinerary cards stacked neatly at the desk, glove tag sized, edges square. Wet snow tried the seams. Key readers on the 2nd floor flickered. Maintenance swapped the module. Housekeeping issued mechanical keys for an hour and logged each one. Front desk brewed cocoa before anyone asked. The line dissolved. A child blew across a cup and grinned through a scarf. Mornings settled into stand-ups. 10 minutes. 3 questions. A Kaizen board grew, post-its with tidy handwriting. Marina tested a rotating runner system. 1 flight up, 1 down. Repeat. Turn times flattened. Breakfast scores held. NPS lifted by a hair and stayed there. On Crimson Heirs, family drama stories lean toward family revenge stories when the town's pushback becomes an invitation to outwork the rumor mill. Newsprint caught up. A column noted a temporary rating dip at Cedar Sky and mentioned cut breakfasts, slow rooms. A photo showed Robert at a bank meeting, face turned away, captioned with a date and nothing else. An envelope waited at the front desk next morning. Gold seal. Invitation. Rocky's Boutique Awards. Nomination enclosed. A second email chimed from a travel magazine, asking for a brand interview and a photo shoot on Tuesday. Evelyn laid a ruler across the envelope's edge and tapped once, then twice. When the town stops whispering and starts watching the stage, the award lights warm, and the microphone waits for. The ballroom glowed like warm whiskey, glass clinks moving in rivers between tables. On the back row, Margaret and Robert stood by a pillar as if they'd rented it. The program listed every category. Cedar Sky appeared nowhere. The envelope for Boutique Hotel of the Year sat on a mirrored tray like a dare. When the apex was announced, Evelyn didn't leap. Her team did. Chairs scraped, palms met, applause widened into surf. She rose with them, smoothing the hem of a black dress, work disguised as grace. Flashbulbs stitched white thread across the walls. The stage smelled faintly of pine. She kept the speech short. Thanks to staff who could run an elevator plan in their sleep, to guests who tested checklists, to makers whose berries lived on the breakfast line. Then, sometimes being underestimated is a gift. It lets you do the work right, all the way down to the details. Standards aren't slogans, they're promises you keep in motion. She didn't turn toward the back row. She didn't need to. Hook. When the mic opened, the silence behind her grew loud as wind. Margaret dabbed her eye with a folded napkin. Robert adjusted his watch band for the third time and stopped at last. A camera caught them in a reflection behind the podium and moved on. Tyler wasn't in the frame. He wasn't in the room. Morning brought the magazine crew. They walked the lobby in shoes, shooting hands, not faces. A barista pouring a spruce in foam. The FB lead setting a thermometer by a pan. A concierge sliding a glove tag itinerary across stone. The editor asked for the story from the beginning. Evelyn gave it to her clean. The dawn call in Boston, the triage month, the record quarter, the wrong chair, the red sign, the escrow, the dust, the training, the ribbon. She laid out the brand pillars, local first, eco-min. They ate the signature breakfast without notes and still found lines to quote. People stay because the food is honest and the systems are invisible, the editor said, tapping her pen against a mug. Before leaving, she lowered her voice. Our Rockies issue will name the Apex the region's best. We're pairing it with a piece on properties struggling to adapt. No names were offered, none were required. Word moved faster than snowmelt. Vendors who had paused returned with cleaner contracts. Guides blocked dates for Apex guests before being asked. Direct searches rose. The chat bubble worked harder, but never looked sweaty. The ops manager's pen clicked once, satisfied, as dashboards drew longer green bars. Around town, the pitch shifted. The same cafe that had hosted whispers now hosted plans, couples asking for spa times, families comparing snowshoe trails, a clerk recommending the waffle line without looking over his shoulder. A small lodge in the next valley emailed for operational advice. Evelyn answered with bullet points and a calendar slot. At home, gravity recalculated, but did not break. People who'd known the Brookses for decades shrugged. It should have been this way. Margaret's messages used more commas than periods, saying she was proud, asking nothing. Robert texted a sunrise from the old lot with no caption. Tyler posted once about awards being pageants, then went quiet. On Crimson Heirs, where family drama stories slant into family revenge stories, the bright part isn't gloating. It is proof of process, of care, of a standard repeating until doubt gets bored. The award didn't lower stakes. It raised them. The Apex had become a measuring stick the town would lean against. Housekeeping couldn't slip because cameras had turned away. Breakfast couldn't coast because a banner hung in a ballroom. Winning meant keeping the promise at scale, through snow, rumor, and weekends that forgot to end. As the crew packed cables and folded diffusers, a text arrived from Margaret. Dinner, Thursday, just us. Evelyn read it twice, thumb hovering over yes, then no, then the blank between. The stage lights cooled, and a single invitation warmed the week, one sentence that would draw the line. Thursday came cold and clear. Evelyn arrived, rang once, and stepped into the old dining room. Margaret rotated her stemless glass. Robert brushed a thumb along his watchband. The roast sat under a silver lid nobody lifted. They spoke weather first, then the award, then the town's chatter. Compliments arrived like folded napkins, neat, late. Finally, could you guide Tyler? Help us steady Cedar Sky? Margaret's vowels softened the request. Robert's eyes stayed on the runner in the hall. Evelyn placed a folder on the table. Inside, vendor map, training calendar, cost sheet, and 2-page playbook for staffing the 10 to noon choke. You'll have the files tonight, she said. I won't return as a fixer or a shield. If you hire a consultant, this gives them a start. She rose without scraping the chair. Margaret nodded once. Robert exhaled like someone finishing a form. No hugs. The door closed on quiet hinges. At home, she archived an unsent apology and added a Saturday hike to her calendar. Favorites on her phone shrank to a short list. The house felt bigger by a mug. Morning at the Apex opened clean. Sun through tall glass. The bell twirled once and centered itself. The front desk slid a glove tag itinerary to a couple. Marina pinned the day's shifts with a silver tack and a smile. Breakfast rose in steam. A child pressed a window with mittened hands. The dashboard blinked greens. Occupancy solid. NPS edging up. Repeat intent inbox filling. The newsletter announced a fundraiser for the animal shelter. Partners inked winter slots early. A small lodge upriver asked for operational coaching. Cedar Sky filed permits, posted a fresh buffet photo, and hired an outside firm. Evelyn sent the same folder she'd left at dinner and left it there. On Crimson Heirs, amid family drama stories that sometimes sharpen into family revenge stories, standards aren't speeches, they're kept. She stopped waiting for recognition. She opened the door wide and the world stepped in,